Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody here with us today and everybody joining us from far away on Zoom or whatever profile, whatever thing we're running on. Thank you very much for coming today. And good morning, Houston. Houston. What are you doing, Houston? What are you doing, Houston? It's hard to figure. It's like you want to be 120 degrees during the summer and you want to be freezing in the winter. It's like, you should leave some stuff for someone else to do. You know what I mean? It seems a little, I don't know, it seems like Houston is that kid you grew up with who was the best violin player and the quarterback of the football team and on the honor roll and an Eagle Scout. It's all right. You don't have to, we believe you. We believe you. And then we're going to snow, right? It's going to snow. Is it going to snow this much? No. It's going to snow this much. All you had to do was snow this much, and you could have said you snowed, and we would have believed you. But no. So for everybody for whom 6 inches of snow is a bad thing, stay home, which I believe is everybody, right? And welcome to Houston. Welcome. My name is Reverend Ed, and I am the minister here. Our worship associate will be Mary Cochran, who is also in the choir, who will sing, who will read, is there dancing involved, Mary? There's no dancing involved, but everything else. We had an event scheduled for tomorrow, Pizza and Proselytizing, which was an intended carryover from Catherine Vance's service last week. But due to the fact that Houston has decided to show off, we are going to cancel that just for everyone's safety. I've also informed the staff that on Tuesday they are able to work from home. So if you're trying to get in touch with us on Tuesday and you're having difficulty, just wait. We're working on contacting you. The Social Action Group would like to thank all of the Emersonians who donated food. We delivered 200 pounds of food to the Houston Food Bank in early January. Thank you for everybody who participated. Yes, give yourselves a round of applause. That's nice. The annual congregational meeting is following the service today. As you know, we have had listening sessions on this, and the board and the people who prepared the budget and the nominees have gone back and represented a newer version of the budget that took a lot of your input in play. So we hope to have a fairly quick congregational meeting. Because of the congregational meeting, we are going to cancel Lunch Bunch this week, but please feel free to go out and grab a cup of coffee before the meeting starts. Next Sunday, if you're still new to UU, or if you are new to Emerson, we invite you to join us in the library after services to explore Emerson and Unitarian Universalists, and we'll have a little lunch for you up there. So if you are new and you'd like to learn more about us, and if you have questions, where's Linda? She's not here. Linda and I will lead that session next week. So we look forward to hosting you if you are willing to join us. And speaking of people who are still a little new around here, we would like to welcome you, of course, as we always do. And we're super happy that you're here on this spiritual journey with us. And we invite you, as you're comfortable, to fill in the yellow card, which is in the pews. That will put you on our mailing list. If you are very new around here and you haven't gotten a welcome kit, we can get you one of those as well. So we are very happy to have you here. And we are very happy and thankful to Jane Joseph for providing our beautiful array of flowers in honor of her daughter today. Thank you, Jane. Wonderful. And now I invite Artem to bring us into the formal part of our service.
And now we transition into our sacred time together, a time of reverence, a time of attention, a time of intention. I invite you to join us in this time marked by the lighting of our chalice flame. I would like to invite Francine to come forward and light our chalice flame in the sanctuary. And I invite those of you at home to light a candle where you are to join in spirit. We mark this sacred time with words, important words that bring us into a time of collective intention. As we light our chalice flame here in the sanctuary, this is a repeat. I invite those of you joining us from home to light a candle or chalice of your own. This morning, there we go. This morning and for the month of January, our chalice lighting words come from the 39th President of these United States, Jimmy Carter, who died in December at the age of 100. Please join me in reading these words together as they appear on your screen. You just have to have a simple faith. Emerson is a beloved community of faith, reason, and affection. We welcome all to grow in mind and spirit as we build a better world. We do this by gathering to seek, learn, and grow, and in the course of our work, to promote love among each other, our congregation, and the wider community here in Houston. Whether you're here in the sanctuary or joining us on Zoom or Facebook, we welcome you. No matter where you are in your spiritual journey, we invite you to live, learn, love, and grow with us. As a covenantal community, we aspire to promote love, fellowship, and social justice, as well as support for your personal growth. Please join me in our welcoming. The words are on the screen. Whoever you are, wherever you come from, wherever you find yourself on your life's journey, whichever your pronouns, whether you've walked in or rolled in or dialed in, whomever you love, you are welcome here. And now we have our presentation of This Week in Unitarian Universalist History with Richard Cummins.
Thank you, Mary. Good morning. For the week of January 13th through the 19th, I've selected two interesting items. On the 18th of January in 1782, Daniel Webster was born in Salisbury, New Hampshire. He was a Unitarian lawyer and political leader, best known for using his powerful oratorical skills to promote moderate federal unity when the divisions over slavery were growing extreme. He opposed the War of 1812, and as a member of Congress from New Hampshire, refused to vote for taxes to support the war. Webster moved to Boston and became a leading constitutional lawyer and eventually a U.S. congressman and then senator representing Massachusetts. As a senator, he opposed the annexation of Texas. Webster also ran for president on the Whig Party and served as Secretary of State under William Henry Harrison, John Tyler, and Millard Fillmore. He supported the Compromise of 1850, which allowed slavery where it existed but not in new states. He died on October 24, 1852. And on the 20th of January in 1856, Harriet Stanton Blatch was born in Seneca Falls, New York. Early in life, she developed an interest in politics and social reform. She graduated from Vassar College in 1878 and lectured with her mother on the Lyceum circuit. Blatch became a Unitarian in New York City under the ministry of Octavius Brooks Frothingham. She traveled in Europe but returned home to help her mother and Susan B. Anthony complete their 3-volume work, The History of Women's Suffrage, 1881-1886. In 1882, she married William Henry Blatch in Little Portland Street Chapel, Unitarian, in London. Blatch lived in England for 20 years and worked there for women's suffrage. Vassar awarded her a master's degree for her work with England's rural poor. In 1802, she returned to the U.S. and continued her work for women's rights. She was always active in civic projects and political action and wrote Mobilizing Woman Power, 1918, and A Woman's Point of View, Some Roads to Peace, 1920. Harriet Stanton Blatch died on November 20th, 1940. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. The following reading, our first reading today, is excerpted from a televised speech given by President Carter on July 15, 1979, one that I am guessing that many of you may have watched. To give you some frame of reference for this speech, it is entitled, The Address to the Nation on Energy and National Goals, but it has come to be known as the Malaise speech, despite the word malaise never appearing in the speech. As far as readings go here at Emerson, this one is unusually long, but I really want you to hear the vision of the man who, looking back on history, was probably more right than he was wrong. This speech was probably contributed to his losing the 1980 re-election bid, as malaise all of a sudden became a word that showed up in almost all of Ronald Reagan's speeches. It is, however, not a political speech. It is a speech given by a leader whose people could not see what he was doing, and this lack of ability to see has led us to where we find ourselves, I think, tomorrow. I would ask you to try to hear these words as though they were being delivered from a pulpit and not from the Oval Office. And now, the words of President Carter nearly 44 years ago. He begins by saying that he has spoken to a wide swath of the American public, and he quotes several of their comments back to him, after which he continues with these words. He says, "The erosion of our confidence in the future is threatening to destroy the social and political fabric of America. The confidence that we have always had as a people is not simply some romantic dream or a proverb in a dusty book that we read just on the 4th of July. It is the idea which founded our nation and has guided our development as a people. Confidence in the future has supported everything else, public institutions and private enterprise and our own families and the very Constitution of the United States. Confidence has defined our course and served as a link between generations. We've always believed in something called progress. We've always had the faith that the days of our children would be better than our own. Our people are losing faith. Remember, this is 1979. Our people are losing faith not only in government itself, but in the ability of its citizens to serve as the ultimate rulers and shapers of our democracy. Our progress has been part of the living history of America, even the world. We always believed that we were part of a great movement of humanity itself called democracy, involved in the search for freedom, and that belief has always strengthened us in our purpose. But just as we are losing our confidence in the future, we are also beginning to close the door on our past. In a nation that was proud of hard work, strong families, close-knit communities, and our faith in God, too many of us now intend to worship self-indulgence and consumption. Human identity is no longer defined by what one does, but by what one owns. But we've discovered that owning things and consuming things does not satisfy our longing for meaning. We've learned that piling up material goods cannot fill the emptiness of our lives, which have no confidence or purpose. The symptoms of the crisis of the American spirit are all around us. For the first time in the history of our country, a majority of our people believe that the next 5 years will be worse than the past 5 years. 2/3 of our people do not even vote. The productivity of American workers is actually dropping, and the willingness of Americans to save for the future has fallen below that of all other people in the Western world. As you know, there is a growing disrespect for government and for churches and for schools, the news media, and other institutions. This is not a message of happiness or reassurance, but the truth, and it is a warning. These changes did not happen overnight. They come up on us gradually and over the last generation and years that were filled with shocks and tragedy. We are sure that ours is a nation of the ballot, not of the bullet. And we were sure that ours was a nation of the ballot, not of the bullet, until the murders of John F. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King Jr. We were taught that our armies were always invincible and our causes were always just, only to suffer the agony of Vietnam. We respected the presidency as a place of honor until Watergate. We remember the phrase, sound as a dollar, was an expression of absolute dependability until 10 years of inflation began to shrink our dollar and our savings. We believe that our nation's resources were limitless until 1973, when we had to face growing dependency on foreign oil. These wounds are still very deep. They have never been healed. Looking for a way out of the crisis, our people have turned to the federal government and found it isolated from mainstream of our nation's life. Washington, D.C. has become an island. The gap between our citizens and our government has never been so wide. The people who are looking for honest answers, not easy answers, clear leadership, not false claims and evasive, and politics as usual. What you see too often in Washington and elsewhere around the country is a system of government that seems incapable of action. You see a Congress twisted and pulled in every direction by hundreds of well-financed and powerful special interests. You see every extreme position defended till the last vote, almost to the last breath, by one unyielding group after another. You often see a balanced and fair approach that demands sacrifice, a little sacrifice from everyone, abandoned, like an orphan without support and without friends. Often you see paralysis and stagnation and drift. You don't like it, and neither do I, but what can we do? First of all, we must face the truth, and then we can change our course. We simply must have faith in each other, faith in our ability to govern ourselves, and faith in the future of this nation. Restoring that faith and that confidence to America is now the most important task we face. It is a true challenge of this generation of Americans. We know the strength of America. We are strong. We can regain our unity. We can regain our confidence. We are the heirs of generations who survived threats much more powerful and much more awesome than the ones we are challenged by now. Our fathers and mothers were strong men and women who shaped new society during the Great Depression, who fought world wars, and who carved out a new charter of peace in the world. We ourselves are the same Americans who just 10 years ago put a man on the moon. And we are the generation that dedicated our society to the pursuit of human rights and equality. And we are the generation that will win the war on the energy problem and in that process rebuild the unity and confidence in America. We are at a turning point in our history. There are two paths we choose. One is the path I've warned about tonight, the path that leads to fragmentation and self-interest. Down that road lies a mistaken idea of freedom, the right to grasp for ourselves some advantage over others. The path that would be one of constant conflict between narrow interests ending in chaos and immobility. It is certainly a route to failure. All the traditions of our past, all the lessons of our heritage, all the promises of our future point to another path, the path of common purpose and the restoration of American values. That path leads to true freedom for our nation and for ourselves. We can take the first steps down that path as we begin to solve our energy problem.